Hey, welcome. We're going to get started here. Some other students might join us um after we get started here. But nice to see we have Alyssa, Michaela, and Maya. Maya is a current student here at Union. She's actually one of our student workers. Nice to see her. I haven't seen her since school was over. So this Alyssa and Michaela probably applies more to you. Um, so for these Zoom sessions, we have a $500 scholarship for attending the session. So that will be applied to your school account. And I do have your names written down for that. And with me here tonight, I have Dr. Jody Detweiler. She is the Director of Social Work. And I also have Alicia Harris, and Alicia will be talking more at the end of the presentation. She is the life coach who is the advisor for the social work students. So she's going to tell you a bit more of what she does as well, closer to the end of the program. And if you have any questions, type them in the chat. We'll get to them at the end. Most everything can, be done by chat. And we will be sticking around here after the presentation if you want to dialogue and have some chat time or ask Dr. Jody some questions or Alicia or myself with enrollment. Feel free, we can ask questions afterwards. Okay, so let me just pin Dr. Jody here and off we go.
Right. So it's so good to see all of you here on a Tuesday night of all things. So thank you for joining us. I look forward to sharing all about social work, one of the most misunderstood professions that just is not well documented, I think, and not something that a lot of people know just how varied social work can be and what a meaningful career path it can truly involve. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I have a few things I wanted to go over with you all as far as just some information about social work. So social work is just like when I think about biblical verses that I think most encompass the profession, it is this Micah 6:8 verse on to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. And so, one of the big reasons that this stands out to me from a social work perspective is social work is all about recognizing injustice within society for those that have less resources, those that are struggling. And so, wanting to help them with mercy and kindness and humility, understanding that other people know themselves, they know their lives, and that social workers aren't going to come in there dragging them to the finish line of where social workers think they should go. It is a collaborative, meaningful process to meet someone when they're going through a hard time and to try to see what that person feels would benefit their life and then assist them finding resources or assist listening to their story and being present for them are some of the most important parts of what it means to be a social worker within society. So I wanted to talk next about what social workers, like those that are kind of drawn to the profession. So often we'll get students who feel like they want their life and their career to matter. They want to assist others. They want to help others when they're going through a rough time. They want to model helpful behaviors that might be beneficial to someone. They want to empower people to change their life in ways that would be meaningful, in ways that would help their life improve and to grow. And often social workers will arrive on the scene during someone's worst day when things happen in their life that they never anticipated. Oftentimes social workers are helping people when they've had a miscarriage. No one ever thinks they're going to have reproductive problems, or if they've lost a loved one unexpectedly, or they're having a financial crisis. These are often the times when social workers come in to assist people, hear their story, and be present for them in a really meaningful way. And not many people can do that in a helpful manner. Social workers are specifically trained how to listen, how to be present, and how to really help people in a way that is beneficial to them and to be part of their experiences. And if you're there for someone on their worst day, they are never going to forget that. And social work is an incredibly meaningful career path. So according to the Bureau for, some areas related to social work, I want to talk about how important this area is. And so oftentimes people worry about, going into the profession, about whether or not it is sustainable for their career, if they'll be able to take care of themselves and their families. Social work has always grown, whether we're in a recession, whether there is problems financially within the country. Social work has always been able to continue to grow because people need social workers, especially when there is society-wide issues going on. And so this is a meaningful career path because not every major can instantly get a job when they graduate. And social work is one of the areas where there are so many job opportunities within so many different populations. And so there is job security related to going into social work. Also within healthcare and medical areas, social work is growing very fast within hospitals, hospice, nursing homes. Healthcare is one of the fastest growing areas and also pays very well. And so that's something to really consider as you think about a career. Also, if you'll see in the third column, social workers do a lot. And I'll share one of my pet peeves. One of the areas that drives me absolutely bananas is when you're watching television and you see a social worker come on the scene. Often you will only see it in one specific area. And that's when there's allegations of abuse and neglect. That's when the media will highlight the profession of social work. And that is an incredibly small area within social work. Social work is huge. There's so many different populations you can work with, so many different areas, and I listed a few of those. You can work in hospitals and clinics and nursing homes, community mental health, where you help people who are struggling with mental health diagnoses or are struggling with all sorts of symptoms related to their mental health. And that could be caseworker, that could be a therapist, that could be a project director where clients are coming in and having all sorts of issues related to being successful within the classroom. There is, of course, private practice where a person could be a therapist and see clients. State and government work. So there's a lot of senators that are social workers, or all sorts of areas related to the government. There are, of course, school social workers who are assisting students who are struggling within their families or within their classrooms. Social work is so much more than people who work in child protective services. And so I just really wanted to highlight just how within the profession of social work, there's so many areas a person can work, and just how important that work can be and what a difference that can make in people's lives. And so really you can work with so many different populations, with children, with adolescents, with adults, with the elderly, in schools, in hospitals. Just there's so many areas within social work that a person could build a really important career. And most programs, Union Adventist University included, is a generalist program, meaning that we give students a broad understanding of the profession of social work so that they can then be successful in whatever specialty they go into, and then they can then hone those skills within that specialty so that they can then be very successful working with children, working with adults, working in hospitals, working in the military, and all of those kinds of things. And so social work is a very broad and meaningful career path. So I often get asked what kind of skills one needs to be a successful social worker. And so compassion is, of course, really important, to be able to have empathy, to be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to try to understand their situation. Listening skills are so important. Being organized, being able to keep up with a busy schedule. People skills are so important, as well as being able to think outside the box, to have good problem solving in order to help people with all sorts of different situations or issues that they're coming to the social worker for. So often I'll have students ask me, what is the most important of all of these skills? Like, what do I for sure need to have? And of this list, I really go down to the people skills because those are the foundation. If someone can't connect with you, they can't build rapport with you or feel heard and seen by you, then all the others are just a little bit more challenging. So if you already are able to build relationships with people fairly quickly so that they feel seen and heard by you. If you're known in your friend group as the person that is easy to listen to, or that someone can go and talk to and you'll listen, you're known as the safe person. These are building blocks that all other social work skills can build upon. And so if you already have those people skills, then the rest can then be taught and to be honed. And so that is what I'm here for. And so all the rest we really work on in our classes so that we can then build those skills so that you could be effective working with a variety of people and a variety of challenges that they're experiencing within their life. So another area that I think is a challenge, a lot of people wonder if I go into social work, will I be able to support myself? Will I be able to support my family? Is it something that is it sustainable? And so I wanted to include this information so that you can be assured that within the profession of social work that you can take care of yourself. And so these are some median annual salaries. And so, of course, it does vary according to whether you're in a rural area or into an urban city, whether you're just starting out or you have a lot of experience. But I wanted you to know that you can take care of yourself, that within the profession that you're going to be okay. So I wanted to include this information so that you can then make an informed choice. So what makes social work special at Union Adventist University? So many things. So we have small interactive classes. And so what makes that special is one of the important things that I for sure emphasize within my classes. I want students when they graduate to know how to work with people. I want them to be confident in their skills. So we do a lot of practice in class so that I can see their skills, I can give immediate feedback, I can say, that's really good. How about you think about this? Or, try this technique. And so I really have students practice a lot so that when they graduate, they'll know what to do. And that's really important to me because I love theory within social work, and you'll get some theory. And that's really important because we don't want to just help people in what we think will be helpful. And that's where evidence-based research is very helpful so that we know what we're doing is meaningful to people. So there will be some theory involved, but I also want you to have some practical skills as far as knowing how to ask good questions, knowing how your body should be angled so that someone feels heard and seen by you, knowing how to have good boundaries within clients, and so that you can be really effective within your work. So we practice with interpersonal skills one-on-one. There are classes related to group work, so you'll know how to run a group, how to interact with families, so that you'll have direct practice so that when you graduate, you'll know what to do. We also have classes related to what's called macro work, which is broader society work, so that you will know how to help with evaluating to see if something is working for agencies, to see what the needs are, so that you'll have experience working with individuals, groups, and organizations. So you'll be able to get a variety of jobs as you exit Union Adventist University. And that's really, really important. Also, Union Adventist University is situated in a really wonderful city. So we are in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it is a pretty good sized city. So we have amazing internship opportunities. And so those internships really do get you out into the field of social work. And this happens your senior year, so that you'll get to practice all of the skills we've been working on in the classroom. So you'll be able to work with clients, you'll be able to practice those skills, and it looks so pretty on your resume when you graduate. And it helps people get jobs. So you can say, I worked in an agency and these are the things that I did. And that is very attractive to employers to have that opportunity. And within Lincoln, there are so many internship opportunities when working in the hospitals, when working in schools. I place students within child welfare too. And so there's just a lot of wonderful opportunities because we're in a good sized city. And that is really important for your career path to have that meaningful opportunity. Also, something really special about Union is we talk about what it means to incorporate Christianity and spirituality when you work with people. And that's something that mainstream colleges do not do. They typically don't really spend that much time talking about what spirituality means for clients. And that's something that we purposefully do here at Union Adventist University because it's important. The United States is a religious country, and many people are coming with a particular faith or belief system, and they want to incorporate that in whatever struggle they're experiencing. And that's something that we teach students to ethically know how to do. And that is an advantage since so many people within the United States are in fact religious. So that's something important to consider as well. The other area that I really wanted to highlight in my presentation today is that social work is a profession. We have ethics. We have a certain belief system related to how we work with people. We believe that people have a right to choose for themselves. We're not going to choose for them. We believe that people have dignity and worth, and those are important areas. We believe in meeting people where they are. Not where we hope they'll be, but meeting them in the areas where they're struggling and how to help them in a way that is meaningful to the stage they're in their life. And so that's different than a lot of other areas that don't necessarily consider that. And that's all of these areas are something that makes social workers incredibly effective in what they do. And so I have it's a 6-minute TED Talk. And what I really like about it is she packs so much good information within these minutes. And so there's a particular story that really highlights how meaningful social workers are and what they can do to help people.
I have theme song, come on. I love this song. And I love this song because everybody needs a hero. And in fact, at some point when life throws us a big challenge, we need a superhero. Somebody who is not scared to jump into the chaos and fight the good fight with us shoulder to shoulder, right? So I've got good news for you today. Because all around the world, cleverly disguised as mild-mannered individuals, we have thousands of superheroes. Over 600,000 of them in the US alone. We just call them social workers. Right. Now, for some of you, when I said superhero, that might have not been the first thing that popped into your head with social worker. Maybe what popped into your head was something a little more like this, peering suspiciously at your parenting skills. Or if not, maybe like this. Peace and love and singing Kumbaya. Well, I'm here to tell you social workers are neither of those things. And my goal when you leave today is that the image you conjure when you hear social worker looks a little more like this. Social worker as superhero. And I want to spend the next couple minutes talking to you about that. Social workers are not just nice people with good hearts. Social workers are educated professionals who go through accredited university programs that are grounded in a rigorous research base. And what they learn there is part of what makes them a superhero. The two biggest things, they learn their mission and they learn how to make change happen. The mission of social work is to promote and support individual and community well-being and to fight social injustice. Social workers do that because we learn how to see and understand the invisible interconnections between people and their families and their neighborhood and their community and society and laws and policies. And we know that when those connections tangle or break at any of those levels, problems happen. So we learn evidence-based interventions that can help solve the problems around those tangles and breaks. And with that, we can make powerful change happen. Now, a second reason that I like to think of social workers as superheroes is because, just like with a superhero, everyone is going to need a social worker at some point, because everybody's going to face a big challenge in their life at some point. Maybe the challenge starts early, and you're born prematurely. Well, who helps your new parents find the specialist, or figure out how to pay those huge hospital bills, or find a car seat for a teeny tiny baby? Hospital social workers. A little later on in life, you're in school, and maybe you're being bullied, or you're thinking about dropping out. Well, who designs and implements the anti-bullying and the dropout prevention programs in schools? School social workers. Later on, as you get older, maybe you face one of those grown-up problems, a divorce, or you lose your job, and you sink into a depression. Maybe you even start drinking too much. Well, who do you turn to for counseling and therapy? Licensed clinical social workers. Did you know that the majority of mental health services in this country are provided by social workers? It's nearly 70%. And then there are those really tough end-of-life issues. Your 86-year-old dad has Parkinson's disease, but is insistent that he can live independently. Who helps you figure out if he really is safe? Or who helps you find in-home health? Or navigate those really difficult conversations about wills and power of attorney and DNR? Geriatric social workers. Then there's the bigger picture. Who's running the nonprofit agency, who's organizing the community, who's fighting to make sure that the laws and the policies are just and fair. Those are social work managers, organizers, and advocates. So at some point, everybody's going to need a social worker. The final thing that I like to think about when I think about social workers as superheroes came to me when my friend Carla gave me a mug for my birthday that had this saying on it. And at first I thought it was cute. I'm a social worker, what's your superpower? But then I realized that's exactly what social workers do. We say, hi, I'm a social worker. What's your superpower? Social workers believe in strengths, and we help people find their strengths so that they can face the challenges that they're wrestling with. My favorite social worker strength story comes from my friend Martha, who was a social worker who lived on the coast, and every year she would take a social work intern. Well, one year she had a young woman. She assigned him to a client named, I'll call him Bob. Well, Bob struggled with a severe mental illness, and Bob isolated himself in his apartment, and all he would do all day, obsessively, was listen to the radio. So Martha sends the student to do an assessment. The student comes back. Martha says, so what'd you learn? And the student says, I learned he is really good at listening to the radio. But she had a plan. She went to the local Coast Guard office, where apparently there is somebody who has to listen to the shortwave radio all day long and write down the announcements in the news in a log. And she convinced them to let Bob volunteer. Then she convinced Bob to try it. Really, Bob, they want you to listen to the radio. Well, he did. And he listened to the radio better than anybody had ever listened to the radio. They loved him. They hired him part-time. So then Bob said, okay, I have a little bit of money. I'm getting out of the house a little bit. I'd like to try eating out. I haven't done that in years, but I'm scared to do it alone. Would you meet me at the local diner? So the student says, yeah. And the next day she gets there, but she gets there early and she sits on the far side of the diner so that when Bob comes in, she hollers across the diner, Bob, what'd you hear on the radio? And Bob hollers back, all the news. Well, they do this a couple of times a week for several weeks till every local in the diner knows that if you want to know what's going on, you ask Bob. And Martha swears that by the end, it was like that scene in Cheers when Norm walks in. It's like, Bob! So Bob has a job and money and friends, and it all happened because the social worker tapped into his superpower of radio listening. So, my final thought for you today is this. As I've said before, everyone at some point is going to need a social worker. When that happens to you, don't worry, don't be embarrassed, go find one. I promise you, they will be a superhero. And better yet, they will help you find your superpower. so that you can work through whatever life is throwing your way. Thank you very much.
If you have any questions, you can go ahead and email me or give me a call. And so I am the social work program director, and I would love to answer any questions you have about the career of social work or Union Adventist University, or anything related to that. And so please don't hesitate to reach out if that is helpful to you. So I will go ahead and stop share and open up the time to see if anyone has any questions for me today.
Alicia, if you wouldn't mind sharing while the students are thinking of a question, if they have one, a little bit about what you do on the student side of things for students that are studying social work.
Yes. So hi everyone. I am Alicia, like Carla said, and I work in student success. And so my role, and while I'm even on the Zoom call, is because I work with you your first semester of your freshman year, and I do all your scheduling. So if you're interested in doing social work, as soon as you make a confirmation deposit, I will be reaching out. I'll be bothering you, texting you, getting you registered for classes. And so my goal is to make sure that we get you started and get you in the right classes to continue your 4-year plan at Union to become a social worker. So when you get an advisor, you get a life coach. And so I do advising, but then we also do academic coaching and support for you guys as well. We like to make sure, we call student success, so we try and make sure that you are having a good experience at Union. So I have students reaching out to me, asking me about classes. Sometimes we handle things with who do I contact about my finances, or, if we need you to get in hold of enrollment and things like that. I know you guys hear from enrollment first as well. So they're also like your contact person as well. So, but as soon as you make that deposit and you decide that you want to switch over to social work, I would be the person to work on your schedule, and then your second semester, you will get passed on to the experts in social work, and they will do your scheduling. They will do your scheduling from then on out. So I am really just a person to help implement your first year and make sure you're having a good experience and make sure that we get the classes that we need to get in to make sure you finish in that 4 years. And then, like I said, we pass you on. It's a little sad, but I'm not an expert in social work. So I want to pass you off to Jody and her team to make sure that we get you guys to graduate and get you to your career.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was there any questions or Maya? Oh, go ahead, Maya.
So, what kind of jobs can you get if, say, you become a social worker and then a couple years down the road you decide that it's not really for you? Is there anything else you can do with that degree?
Oh, absolutely. Those social work skills lend themselves to just so many career paths. Also, sometimes students will work in a particular area of social work and then decide they wanted to branch out to other populations too. So just because someone may, get tired of maybe being a caseworker, that having a degree in social work means they could do so many other things. And that was actually one of the reasons it appealed to me, because I tend to have a short attention span. I was like, I could do a lot with this. So I think that really is appealing to a lot of those that may like working with a variety of people, but just aren't necessarily sure what they want to do. And so this is a really meaningful career path if that sounds like something that applies to you. I'm just like, I don't really know. But yeah, it's just, there's so many different things you can do with social work. But absolutely, if someone gets into it and decides, they're getting called elsewhere, sometimes our students will get out into social work and then feel a call to nursing. Well, they're going to be the best nurse ever because they're going to be able to hear their patients. They're going to be able to recognize the importance of family. They'll be able to assess what that patient needs when they go home. And so they're going to be just really set to be incredibly effective because of the skills that they nurtured as a social worker. And so that's something to really consider. So excellent question. Yeah. Yes, Michaela, I'd love to hear your question.
Hi, sorry. Is there a lot of opportunity when it comes to social work in the travel or missionary field at all?
Yeah,
Sorry.
actually, there's quite a few that go into ADRA and do other kinds of areas. There's also like international social work is a growing area where they go to different areas and assist with whatever crises or whatever is kind of happening within those countries. And so that's really been taking off over the last 10 years. So there is a significant many areas within social work that you could, like whatever your calling is and whatever you're kind of leaning towards, if you want to ultimately help people make the world as good of a place as it could potentially be, social work is one of the ways you could do that. And so absolutely you could do that if that's kind of what you're feeling called to do and you're wanting to make a difference in other countries. Absolutely. It's a really good question. Any other things that y'all are thinking about? I'll let you know one more thing. So Union is accredited, and that's really, really important if you want to go on to get your master's, because you can get your master's in 1 calendar year. And so that's what I did. I graduated from Union back in the day, and then from here I went on to Walla Walla University. And so I was there from September until September, and I got my master's. And so that's really fabulous. It's called an advanced standing. And so you can just wrap up your master's very quickly. There is some rules to that. You have to go within 5 years of graduating, but that is incredible. Most master's programs are not 1 year. And so that can be quite a cost savings. There is also some wonderful federal programs that will assist with loan forgiveness for those that get their master's degree within social work and then serve underserved populations. For example, if there's one community mental health agency within a city, then that is underserved. So if you worked there, then oftentimes then they will help pay off your student loans. And that's something that I did. I worked in St. Joseph, Missouri. I did a 2-year contract and I am student loan debt free because of that. And I got paid while I was there, and wonderful experience. So there's some wonderful programs out there so that you don't necessarily have to do what I thought I was going to do, which is die with student loan debt. So there's some wonderful ways to get that paid off, because many agencies and also the federal government recognize that social work is making a difference in helping communities and helping others. And they want to reward people who are doing that meaningful work with assisting with financial, challenges. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. All right. Any other things y'all are thinking about or questions? So nice to see you all tonight on a Tuesday.
I have to go hop on the other Zoom call.
All right.
But if you guys have any questions about scheduling purposes, or what you want your first year, or what it not, you can pick, you have some leeway. But what your first semester classes would look like, just go ahead and reach out and I can make a mock schedule for you guys. Even if you don't know for sure, I know some people are really visual learners, because I am. And so it helps to kind of see what a schedule would look like. So if you need help, or you're just curious, Jody's there, but I'm also there to help you as well. And we just want you to help find your calling. So it was so lovely to see all your faces, and hopefully, I know Maya go to school here, but Alyssa and Michaela, if you guys want to do social work, I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, if there's no more questions, we will wrap up here for tonight. Thanks for coming. These are recorded and they will be on the website. So if you want to rewatch it, attend another one. So tonight now it started at 7:30. There's psychology going on. Thursday at 7 o'clock, there's education. And then Thursday at 7:30 is another psychology session. So that's kind of this week in a wrap. And next week we have some different programs going on. But if you are interested in social work, I would suggest you check out the psychology and the education one and just broaden your horizons. So you're welcome to hop on or to watch a recording as well. So have a good night, everyone.